The Hong Kong cargo ship Primrose was sailing through the Bay of Bengal. Suddenly, the ship struck a reef. The captain immediately tried to steer the ship away, but despite his greatest efforts, it wouldn't budge an inch. It was only after several hours that the captain realized the truth. The ship was trapped between two rocks. They realized there was nothing more they could do on their own. So they sent a message to the shore. However, due to certain technical difficulties, the rescuers could not reach the sailors immediately. By the time morning arrived, the sea had become calm. When the sailors finally came out onto the deck, they noticed something. There was an island a short distance away from where the ship was grounded. They couldn't see any signs of human habitation there, but they could clearly see a dense, thick forest on the island. Because of this, they assumed it was an uninhabited island. The sailors wanted to head towards the island, but the captain did not allow it. His order was for everyone to remain on the ship. That day passed very slowly for them. The following day was much the same. However, on the third day, things changed. When the sailors came out onto the deck, they saw a shocking sight. A group of people was standing on the island they had thought was deserted. But something else seemed even more strange to them. All of them were naked. Each of them carried primitive weapons like bows and arrows. They were attempting to attack the sailors with these weapons. However, since the ship was some distance from the shore, their attacks did not reach or affect the crew. After a while, the islanders entered the water and began building something using pieces of wood. At first, the sailors couldn't understand what it was, but as the construction progressed, they realized it was a small boat. The captain immediately issued an order.
Everyone, grab whatever weapons you can find on the ship. Their target is us.
The sailors armed themselves with axes, iron pipes, and other tools found on the ship. The captain also used a flare gun. Due to the loud bang of the flare gun and the sight of the sailors' weapons, the islanders retreated. However, the attacks continued over the following days. Yet, the people from the island were never able to actually board the ship. Finally, after a week, a helicopter arrived to rescue the sailors. The sailors escaped from there. In truth, they were incredibly lucky. This is because they escaped from one of the most mysterious islands on Earth. Located in the Bay of Bengal, North Sentinel Island is a part of the Andaman and Nicobar Islands belonging to India. While it may look like an ordinary island at first glance, things there are quite different. They are the only tribe on this planet that remains completely untouched by the outside world. Although many attempts have been made to contact them, the tribe has violently rejected every single one. They are the most isolated human group in the world, having existed this way for over 60,000 years. They are a society unaware of the evolution and progress. They do not know that we can fly. They do not know that billions of people like them, in different colors, sizes, and shapes, inhabit this planet. They don't even know that this is a planet. What's more, as they lie down looking at the moon on a moonlit night, they have no idea that their own species have already set foot there. The people who live on that island are called the Sentinelese. Around 60,000 years ago, Homo sapiens migrated from Africa to different parts of the world. Based on studies, it is believed that around the same time, the Sentinelese may have reached the Andaman Islands. Even today, their language is something we do not understand. We have tried many times to understand it. In the 19th century, the British government made an attempt in this direction. They arrived in the Andaman Islands and gathered tribal people from other nearby islands. They then tried to use them to initiate communication with the Sentinelese. However, that attempt ended in failure. The Sentinelese language had no connection whatsoever with the languages of other tribes in the Andaman Islands. Not even a single word showed any similarity. Through this incident, it became clear that their language has no relation to any known language in the world today. Even now, we do not have much information about the Sentinelese. The main reason for this is that no one who has entered the island has ever returned alive to the outside world. Historians also mention a small reason behind this defensive behavior. In 1888, the anthropologist M.V. Portman returned to North Sentinel Island to study the Sentinelese. However, after reaching the island, he abducted 6 children and 2 elderly individuals from there. He committed this cruel act to study the possible physical characteristics of their bodies. After bringing them to the mainland, the elderly people died within a few days. The main reason for their death was their immune systems. Having lived on the island for thousands of years, their bodies had no ability to fight against the viruses and bacteria found elsewhere in the world. When the situation began to spiral out of control, Portman returned the remaining children to the island. Later, it is possible that diseases spread through those children to many people on the island, and some may have even died. Perhaps this single incident was what made the Sentinelese aware of the dangers posed by outsiders. That story may have been passed down through generations. It is possible that this incident is the main reason they continue to keep us away. But all of this remains only an assumption. After the British government left India, the Indian government decided to attempt communication with the Sentinelese. From 1967 onwards, several researchers and scientists set out to establish friendly relations with the Sentinelese. However, every mission sent by India for this purpose ended in failure. Except one. In 1967, the anthropologist T.N. Pandit, along with a group of researchers, traveled to the island. Initially, the Sentinelese hid in the forests to avoid the visitors, but in later encounters, they began attacking using weapons. Still, T.N. Pandit did not withdraw from his mission. He and his team continued visiting the island, carrying gifts with them. The plastic buckets and cloth were of no use to them, but coconuts, which do not grow on the island, were something they wanted. The act of offering gifts was repeated again and again. After 25 years of continuous effort, the Sentinelese gradually grew accustomed to Pandit and his team. However, even then, the Sentinelese did not allow them to stay on the island for long. That became both the first and the last friendly contact with the Sentinelese. Although the Sentinelese accepted Pandit and his team to some extent, we still do not know what truly exists inside the island. Satellites have attempted to capture images, but due to the island's dense forests, nothing was clearly visible. How they live, what their culture is like, how their food habits are, all of this remains a mystery even today. Studies say they have been living there for nearly 60,000 years. Because of this, we do not even know what kind of flora and fauna exist there. There may be life forms we have never seen before. There may even be ancestral forms of the species that exist around us today. In 1997, the Indian government officially abandoned all North Sentinel missions. Not only that, tourists were completely banned from visiting the island. Today, approaching within 5 kilometers of the island or attempting any form of contact with its inhabitants is a criminal offense. The primary reason for this is their protection. Their bodies cannot withstand all the microorganisms that exist in our bodies. Even a minor pathogen from us could potentially wipe out the entire island population. Moreover, we must respect their desire to live in isolation.